The day when there's no headline coming out of police and getting called, you're on the police force. Why aren't you making the streets? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, let me put on my armor and go on the street. People get it.
Well, you guys do with a nice stick. So, okay, it's a 4-minute penalty. Now we should review it. Now it's not about.
How are we doing? Good. Thumbs up or wait a minute?
Thumbs up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling this meeting of the Halton Police Board to order for Thursday, April 24th, 2025. Before we get into the actual agenda, I'd like to read our territorial acknowledgement. That the Halton Police Board acknowledges the lands on which we gather for this meeting as the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Anishinaabeg. No matter our origins, our lives are intertwined through the shared earth beneath us, the water we consume, and the air that we breathe. As those responsible for the governance of the security of all who gather on this land, we now call Halton. We are committed to the path of truth and reconciliation in our words and our actions, and call on those watching this meeting to do the same. Newly appointed Madam Secretary, do we have any regrets today?
We have regrets from Jane McKenna.
Thank you. Okay. Members of the board, are there any declarations of pecuniary or conflict of interest to declare today? I'm not seeing any. We have our minutes from our previous board meeting, which was held on March 27, 2025. They've been distributed, and I look for your advice on their disposition. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you, Samira. And seconded by, thank you, Nav. Any comments, questions, errors, or omissions to report? No. I'm not seeing any. All in favor? Those are carried. Okay, we do have 3 public presentations today. We have Councillors Giddings and Hazlett-Seal from Oakville's Ward 3 will be presenting to us. We have a presentation on body armor, and then we have a presentation from Halton Crime Stoppers. That's the order. We're going to take them in mostly for timing of the individuals that have to make the presentations, because I believe that everybody has to dash after their presentations. And just so you know, we typically will deal with the item immediately after presentations. We're not going to be doing that today. So we'll hear the presentations in total, and then we'll deal with the items as they come up in order on the agenda, just to accommodate everybody's needs to vacate the chamber. Okay, members of the board, I'm pleased to recognize Councillors Hazlett-Seal and David Giddings from the great ward of Ward 3 in Oakville. Janet, is your colleague with you?
I think he's just turning on his camera.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Okay. Okay, you have the floor. Our bylaw stipulates 5 minutes, but if you require more, just let me know and I can extend the time if necessary.
Well, good morning. On behalf of Dave and I, thank you for the few minutes that we can share about the pilot that you kindly invested in on behalf of Ward 3. We've submitted a letter that we feel covers most of the feedback that you require as you consider further investment in Community Watch. I'll just say a couple comments, and then I'll let my council colleague add in some additional. I want to express thanks for really taking the initiative to ensure that there was an opportunity to revisit what was the old tried and true neighborhood watch, and for some of the best practices that were shared prior to the pilot launching. A good faith effort was made with the pilot, but there were considerable opportunities in terms of how we establish expectations, ensuring that we connect to the energy in a community that does have ongoing concerns about their safety. And you're all very well aware of Ward 3 seems to be a magnet for crime, in more so than maybe some other areas, though we recognize that overall we are a safer community than many out there. So in regards to Community Watch, we would really welcome a more detailed debrief with all the key players who are responsible for the program, as well as a couple members of our community. I think we have lots to add in terms of how we can establish a stronger foundation for success and enable it in the future to roll out further. My personal view is it is not ready for a rollout to any other ward. There are opportunities in terms of creating clarity on what the volunteers can accomplish, how we optimize communication in the newsletter, how we enable possible block captains or neighborhood captains. And we're pleased to participate in those discussions because we do think this is a method to reinforce that the police services are really here for us. And here are some tools and techniques that will ongoingly keep the communication open. So with that, I'll just turn it over to Dave.
Thanks, Janet. And thank you, Chair and Service Board members. Further to what Janet said, our residents associations have embraced it. As Janet has said, our residents are anxious. We all know what's been occurring, and we're looking forward to the implementation across all of Halton. I believe, as Janet said, if we use our learning experiences, we can hone the process to make it more turnkey and seamless as it's launched out through other wards and through other municipalities. We've had a great learning experience. We believe we're close to getting there, and we just want it to be able to launch quickly and effortlessly and share communications with our council colleagues throughout Halton so we can make this as good as it can be, and it has the potential to be. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, councillors. Members of the board, do you have any questions for our presenters this morning? Oh, there you are. Hello, Lisa.
Through the chair, thank you, councillors, for your insights on this program as a pilot. I'm just wondering, can you share how you received any community feedback from residents? What method did you use, and was there an overall flavor outside of the sort of councillor's lens?
So most of the feedback we get is through questions ongoingly about, can you tell us when we're going to get what the results are of having a community watch? So phone calls, emails, meetings with residents associations. We have 5 residents associations. They have annual general meetings. Their comments are often just part of the conversation that councillors have with their residents. We didn't do a formal survey. We didn't think that was our place to do. We solicited the feedback through all the great connections we have in the ward.
And if I may further to that, councillor, there are a number of neighborhood apps that are, to put it bluntly, rather toxic and accusing. Whenever an event happens, things often get blown out of proportion. People get whipped into a frenzy, and it's not positive for anybody. And so through our newsletter, through community meetings, and for example, our upcoming annual general meetings that are being held, we can get accurate information out, and it's badly needed.
Thank you very much. And just a second question related to community input. If you were to look at this pilot through a lens of a community that does not have any significant community residents associations, for better or for worse, how would you make a recommendation or some insights in any future pilot efforts in the absence of those types of forums?
Great question. If you look at the number of Facebook groups, for example, the mums groups, the dads groups, It's a very cost-efficient way of getting an accurate message out there. And that's just a couple of the social media groups that would be very beneficial.
And let me just add, and I think, Councillor, it's a really great question, is that that is one of the reasons why we wrote the letter, is because, we know that we are we have an advantage with having residents associations, and not every ward and community does. And so building clarity around roles and responsibilities is essential to the future success. And looking at a Community Watch app and how a Community Watch app could be managed and sustainable over time would be tremendously beneficial. I watch one of the not that I really want to watch these apps on WhatsApp. They're on my notifications so that we're at least alert to what people are thinking and feeling. And the one that is effective focuses clearly on alerts and prevention. And, we've had people say to us, well, why is a resident doing that and not Community Watch? And where is the involvement of the police on this? And we don't have a clear answer for them other than to say, look, we're in the middle of a pilot. People are feeling their way through what can we provide sustainably over time. But the answer is technology and taking the time to invest in it, because that's what will help get the message out. And you're able to make sure the message is consistent if you have good administrators on the program.
Thank you for that insight. It is appreciated.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the colleagues for presenting today. Just a quick question with regards to expectations. What were the expectations when the pilot started, and how do you feel they can be achieved? I know you in part did respond to this as part of Councillor Kern's question, but specifically, what I understand is the community expects crime watchers to be basically the eyes and ears of the community. That's one expectation. There's another one that, there needs to be trust built between the organization and the community, especially the resident groups that you mentioned. There's a level of collaboration staying within the stipulations of the code of conduct. So just wondering, were these expectations met? And you see that there's room for, because I did hear you say that you believe that, it's not ready to be rolled out to other wards. And I'm just trying to figure out what can be done to make sure that it's ready to be rolled out, because in Milton, we really need this. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll start and Dave jump in. So again, it is not ready to be rolled out. The expectations weren't clear, and I don't think they are clear today. What are the principal objectives of Community Watch? If the principal objective is to circulate, phone numbers and signs, that's not going to achieve what I think residents might be looking for, which is a sense of how can a feeling of safety around I have reliable, trustworthy information and tips. And while we can and we have, Dave and I are quite vigilant about getting what's on the Halton Police Services website out, the hope was that Community Watch would pull that together in a more succinct, easy to digest way and update people ongoingly. But the crux of it really is, Councillor, that those expectations weren't clear for anybody. And that's why, while they've done some terrific things. I mean, they've made progress on newsletters. They've made progress on having lawn signs and stickers. What really needs to happen is a holistic, detailed discussion about what are the elements that are working and what are the elements they're committed to improving to roll it out in the future. The fact that they're not lawn signs on more and more properties in a neighborhood that have other lawn signs about, suspicious activity will be reported. There's not the uptake because it wasn't orchestrated in a way that brought people into the conversation and made them see a benefit that Community Watch. And Community Watch has its benefits. It's just the execution has not been, and the clarity has not been there of what it will contribute.
Thank you. That helps.
Thank you again for coming out today to give us feedback. Just a question, and when you're engaging with the community groups, I know my fellow board members who are counselors always get emails saying we need more presence, we need more presence. So I just want to make sure that, or understand that, Community Watch is, I guess, a community group that helps, residents become aware and we could do more. But is there that expectation that, we're going to have 24/7 patrol? Because, we know that's not realistic. So I want to understand, what is, when you're speaking to these community residents and they want Community Watch, what is, what is the ideal scenario that they're looking at?
Great question. And expectations often differ than what is reasonable, affordable, or possible. Councillor Janet and I hosted a meeting with Chair Noel, the representatives from HRPS, and our provincial and federal members of parliament. In the fall, we held it at Town Hall via Zoom. We recorded it, and we send that out to people that are concerned. And it details the issues that they are feeling and the fear they are feeling. We deal with residents that expect that a substation in the heart of Ward 3 is going to solve all the issues, that the presence, that they don't see a police car driving by their house every 20 minutes means they aren't being served. So we manage those expectations through providing facts on a regular basis. We get regular phone calls from people, and after we talk them away from the edge, most of them get it. But a program like this will allow us to deal with a lot of the toxicity and get neighbors speaking to each other again and getting contact details, so we can act a little bit nicer towards each other in the community.
No, and I'll just add to that because, well said, Dave. We will always have individuals who will request, where are the police? I don't see them. And that's just comes from a place of fear and heartache. And the more we can help them understand what is your role in terms of personal responsibility, how are the police supporting the community, what are safety and security tips that you may not have optimized that are out there, all of those things help. So I'm not going to stand here and say I don't have residents who want more police presence. They want visibility and they do want presence. But Community Watch isn't that. Community Watch, if it's laid out well, is about giving people, as I think Jessica did very well in her research, a sense of connection in their community, that they see something, they say something. Here are fact-based, trustworthy tips that we need to constantly be vigilant about. Here's reasons to trust the police as well as Community Watch for that information. I mean, compliments to Chair Noel. The fact that Crime Stoppers is the vehicle starts the trust process and strengthens it. We just need to do the logistics and the clarity around how a resident benefits from volunteering. And what does it mean to volunteer? What does it mean, you know, to be a member of Community Watch. It doesn't mean you're walking down the street, you know, knocking on cars, which terrifies me that people think that they should do that, to say, what are you doing on my street? No, it's about arming you with good information and keeping you informed and connecting you with your neighbors so that you feel that as a community, you're together in creating a safe space for your family.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Further questions? I have just a couple. So I just want to clarify, because you've got a room, quite a few members of Crime Stoppers in the back row here who are listening carefully to your presentation today. So I just I want to try to encapsulate what I think your message is today, and tell me if I'm right in this general direction, that you are happy with the fact that the pilot's happening, and you are happy with the progress made today, but there's so much more that can be done, is basically the message that you're stipulating, and you'd like to see that happen in a more timely basis. Is that fair?
Yes, and I think we need to get people together, not today, not on this call, to really do that debrief. What are the objectives? How are we going to move it forward in a timely way? I think you said that very well, Jeff, because we've lost momentum, and it's not because individuals haven't made progress. Progress has been made, but there is much more that could be done before you roll it out, so you have greater success in other communities.
And of course, it's a pilot, so this feedback is excellent to help refine the pilot, and will be very informative to Crime Stoppers, I believe, as they go forward with this initiative. So based on your letter, could you, for the sake of the folks listening and watching in the room, can you maybe encapsulate the top 3 asks that you are seeking? I know you've got a whole range of things here from, you have some opinions about signage, there's some information on neighborhood captains, et cetera. Could you maybe just encapsulate maybe 3 of the top issues that you'd like to see addressed?
I would say that communication, how often, how it's distributed, how it's updated, and the involvement of how it's sustainable over time. And that includes newsletters, and the app kind of concept is a big ask in terms of how do we do this better, more efficiently, more sustainably, would be one. I'm still a big believer that neighborhood captains in some way, shape, or form needs to be tested in this world of, you know, it's not 25 years ago when there was a parent at home and there was a sticker on the window and you could go knock on the door if you were worried. That's not the program anymore. This has to be about sustainable in terms of connecting people, and more thought needs to go into how to keep that, how to pilot something to see if it, as Councillor Kern said, how do you make it work in a different area? And then I'm a big believer in the ask being, look, it's great we have lawn signs and stickers, but they're not getting in people's hands and activated. We need to engage the community in a different way with a different approach.
Okay. Thank you. That was helpful. I appreciate that, and I'm sure that the Crime Stoppers folks have made notes as well. Thank you for your presentation today. I don't think there's any further questions from the board, so we do appreciate you appearing today and sharing your experiences. Please stay in touch and keep us apprised of what's happening in your ward. We do appreciate the feedback very much, and we will get back to you with, I guess, updates on where we are with the memorandum of understanding and the ongoing relationship that we have with Crime Stoppers.
So could I just close with one statement, which is, we do believe the investment is the right investment. We think there needs to be greater investment. So if the monetary investment is what's holding back some of the work that Crime Stoppers wants to do, we'd be pleased to talk about that and understand that. We think this has potential. We truly do. And we have appreciated the efforts of those who've been making those efforts. And we've appreciated that the Police Services Board took the initiative to bring it forward. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. That was leaving on a very positive note. Thank you, councillors. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, next up is our presentation on body armor. So who is going to lead us on that this morning? Who's going to start us off?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. We have Inspector Chris Newcomb.
Okay.
Staff Sergeant Matt Kohler from our training bureau are going to come and come on up, gentlemen. I'm going to present to you on some exciting new areas that we're going with body armor that also relates to an agenda item on the agenda as well. So, Dr. Newcomb, I think over to you. All right.
Thank you very much. My name is Chris Newcomb. As you know, I'm an inspector. I oversee our training and recruiting unit. With me is Staff Sergeant Matt Kohler. He is the staff in our training unit. So we're looking to transition into new soft and hard body armor in 2025. We have a quick, let's call it 10-minute presentation. Going to do a quick PowerPoint, give you some nuts and bolts of it, but also do a quick demo. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We have some samples up here. I can pass them over. I think you've mostly had an opportunity to look at them, but I'll turn it over to Matt shortly, and he can run through, and then we'll take any questions.
Morning. Thank you for your time. This quick presentation is to supplement the board recommendation report that has been previously submitted, and we had a HRPS business plan in 2023, which covered this project and the rollout. So moving forward, what brought us here today, our executive summary. As you know, back in April 2024, the Community Safety and Policing Act, the CSPA, was enacted. In that, Ontario Regulation 393/23 was in it. There were some significant changes that came with the CSPA, as you know, and the ones that relate specifically to body armor here are quoted. This quote is taken right from the Act. For each officer performing community patrol functions is using body armor that at a minimum meets standards for Type 3 as classified by the National Institute of Justice's Ballistic Resistance to Body Armor Standard. In plain speak, what that means is our police officers have always worn soft body armor. They've worn a level 2 armor, which basically stops rounds that would come out of a handgun. The level 3 standard stops rifle bullets. So this is an acknowledgement of what's going on in the contemporary environment. After looking at some issues that have happened in our country, Nova Scotia, the mass shooting inquiry, and a few other events, it's been recognized that we need to have our frontline officers have the ability to up armor to address these threats from a health and safety perspective. So that brings us to where we are today. We've done some testing, which we'll talk about, and we've decided on the TYR Tactical Armor System. TYR is the name of the company, TYR. The products in front of you are the system that we've selected. It consists of the EPIC soft body armor. EPIC is the brand name. That's the day-to-day armor and carrier that our officers would wear. That's level 2 protection, same as what they have now. There is a plate carrier, which is also up here with the hard plates, which is the level 3. So that is the enhanced protection against rifle bullets. And as part of this system, there's a chest rack, which I'll discuss a little further. As covered in the board recommendation report, just to summarize, why did we select the TYR armor system? We had a number of products evaluated by frontline patrol officers and training bureau staff. We ended up selecting TYR because of a number of issues, namely comfort for both our male and female officers. There is a male cut to the armor and a female cut specifically designed to accommodate the female anatomy. Mobility is another great reason for the system. You'll see it looks slightly different. It's tapered in on the sides. They refer to that as a shooter's cut, which allows the wearer to bring their arms forward. They can drive, they can shoot, they can do whatever they need to do, as opposed to our old armor, which was more of a block to the front. The detachable chest rack option, which I'll go over in more detail in a minute, is another valuable feature. Ease of use, when the officer goes to a high-risk event where they need that enhanced armor, they can easily put it on by themselves. It doesn't require a second officer to put the armor on for them or put a back plate in. They don't have to take their soft body armor off to get it on, so it's quite easy to use. The cost is comparative to the product that we have now, and given current events, it's great that it's made in Canada, Ontario. It's a Canadian product and we're not subject to U.S. tariffs. So as you're looking at the table, the armor carrier furthest to the right, which I think you all had a chance to put your hands on, that is the EPIC soft body armor system. So some highlights of that, as mentioned on the slide here, it's level 2, shooter's cut. There's a zippered pocket across the chest top, so officers can put whatever miscellaneous items they need in there, phone or wallet, whatever. There is a spot for a Velcro name tape attachment up on the right shoulder, so that's in compliance with our dress policy. There are reflective white police identifier front and back placards. Low light, they can be reflective, so the member wearing it is easily identified as a police officer. Has a padded mesh interior for comfort. There are internal stiffeners for load distribution. This is important because with our current armor system, one of the bits of feedback that we have is with the pouches and equipment attached to the armor, the weight tends to pull down on the officer. The way the system is designed, the pouches have their weight distributed internally, so it's a very different feel for the officer. They're not as fatigued after wearing it, and it doesn't hurt the back as much as well. There is a 4-way adjustable carrier. Once the officer is sized, a member from tier company comes out and does the actual sizing. There's a number of different options they can choose to deal with height, torso, girth, everything else. But then when they actually receive their sized armor, there's an additional 4-way adjustment on it, so they can further customize left and right shoulder, and there's a cummerbund so they can adjust left and right for their width. As I mentioned, there are both male and female cuts. It is a fire retardant carrier, and it accepts a chest rack. So when we have to go for an enhanced armor because of a high-risk event, we go with the plate carrier, which is the center portion there. It's worn over top of the soft body armor as needed. It's level 3 armor. Again, that enhanced protection front and back that would stop rifle bullets that normally wouldn't be stopped by the level 2 armor. It is a 4-way adjustable carrier. It comes with generic sizing. So whereas the soft carrier is more tailor-fitted to the individual, the plate carrier is a generic sizing. It comes in a large, medium, and a small. And the way the sizing is done, the vast majority of the officers in our service would wear a size medium. It takes a very physically large person to require a large size, and we do have small sizes as well. It's fire retardant also. It accepts a chest rack, and as I said, can be dogged by the individual officer. The chest rack, which is lying flat on the table there, it's a great feature of this system. It allows the officer to attach their pouches via the existing MOLLE system. So the pouches that we currently have on our current issue armor have an attachment system on it called MOLLE, and it weaves through these different slots on the armor. So we can use those same pouches on this. We don't have to go out and acquire anything new. It's all transferable. Chest rack attaches to the soft body armor, and when the plate carrier is worn, it gets attached to that, and it allows for the proper fit of the soft body armor and plate carrier. So as just a quick example with it, we have soft body armor that would be issued to the officer. They have a chest rack where the officer would put on whatever pouches they want, and those stay fixed. So when it comes time to start the day, you simply put it on. You undo one side of the cummerbund, goes over the head, lifts up the chest rack, and it snaps down, and the chest rack attaches top left and right side, and then you're ready for patrol day to day. If the event happens that you're going to a high-risk situation and you need to up armor, You simply detach the chest rack that has the pouches on it. You grab the plate carrier. It has the same cummerbund system. It goes over your head, over top the soft body armor. Then the officer takes the chest rack, it reattaches, clips left and right on the chest, and left and right on the side. You can do this standing up, you can do it sitting in a car. It doesn't require another officer to assist you with it, and you're ready to go. You will see, if you put your hands on the plates, they are a bit thick, but the trade-off for the thickness of the plate is the weight. On the far left on the table is one of our old plates, and you can see how much heavier it is. And that's just one, not the front and back. With our projected rollout, as per our business plan, currently all the new soft body armor that the service is purchasing for its newest members is from Tier Tactical. We're not buying old system just to replace it again. So all our new recruits and cadets have been sized and are receiving Tier soft body armor. To be in compliance with the CSPA, it's proposed to acquire the Tier soft body armor and plate carriers that will fulfill our requirements. The rollout is having frontline officers receiving the soft body armor initially because it states that frontline responders need to have it. Our plan is to acquire 40 plate carriers per district. As I said, the different sizes will be there, and they'll be available for daily sign-out, much like we do right now with our vehicles, with our CEWs. When the officer starts their workday, they sign it out, they take it out with them in the car, and they return at the end of the day. Support units are then next to receive the soft body armor.
We looked at a number of different options for rolling out to the members. We chatted about individual issue, which would mean all approximately 450 of our frontline officers would receive both systems. Obviously, that comes at a substantial cost. The other option was to issue them to the individual frontline patrol cars. Concerns with that were when vehicles go in for service, whether at North or South Works, or they're in a collision and they're out of service for days, weeks, or months, that plate carrier remains in the trunk of the vehicle and is no longer useful in the district. So we found that was counterproductive. So at this point, we've come up with, we're going to hope to purchase 40 units per district. So that would be 120 units total. We'd do 30 mediums, 5 smalls, and 5 larges. And just based on feedback from membership as well as liaising with the company that would meet our needs. Again, as Matt mentioned, we have them signed out daily by the officer in and out, just like cruiser keys and tasers. And then, and the plate carrier is available and accessible while on patrol. This would be all frontline officers and our district response unit officers as well. So just to close with our anticipated timeline, subject to your approval and the chief's approval, phase 1 was now getting approval today from you folks. Phase 2 would commence probably in early May and June, and we would size all of our frontline patrol officers. Again, being a Canadian company, it is simply having them come down from Canada. They would basically set up shop in our district, let's say one district on a Monday morning at 5 a.m., and they would spend 12 or 14 hours there Monday through Friday, and they would ensure that every officer throughout the district is sized properly, and then they would move on to 2 district and 3 district. Obviously, that's going to take some time. We'd like to get that done in June and July of 2025. And then once the order was placed, we would anticipate a turnaround time of the fall of 25, let's say September to December, to getting them issued to the frontline officers. And then we would like to be and need to be in compliance with the CSPA come April 1, 2026. So do you have any questions or any other thoughts or concerns you'd like us to address?
Thank you for your presentation. Members of the board, do you have questions? Not seeing you. That was a pretty comprehensive presentation. And what's the feedback been like from the frontline officers in dealing with this new body armor?
We actually dealt with a number of different companies before we selected this one. We had a number of officers selected on the road and in our training bureau. We started with a two-plate system. The feedback wasn't great simply because although an officer could put a plate in the front, they required a second officer to attend and come and put the second plate in. We also ran into some struggles with some of the female officers just with the anatomy getting a plate in, so it just was counterproductive to what we were looking for. So we continued with a test program out in the districts and in training, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. They like the fact that it is in the car with them, they can don it in the vehicle, they can don it outside of the vehicle, and it's simply a matter of, you saw Matt do it within 30 seconds, that thing's on, and it's you're self-sufficient. So very good feedback.
I noticed that there's a handgun in that chest carrier. Is that typical?
I think that's Matt. Is that your taser?
Oh, it's a taser. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
Taser just to move it off my waist, so we carry them on the vest.
Okay. Would an officer would normally carry that on their waist?
They have an option.
Okay.
They can get an exception to carry it on their vest as well.
Okay. That's really good information. Very helpful when it comes to making these purchasing decisions, to actually see the product and understand the value. It's rather than just seeing the numbers and on paper. It's really good to actually see it, understand it, and appreciate the value to our team. So thank you for the presentation today.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Chief.
I was going to say, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, the demonstration's worth 10,000, so it really shows it. I would like us to think possibly in the fall, depending on our budget status, this is a very fiscally responsible way to implement it. I would prefer every officer have it individually deployed to them, provided to them, but we can address that later.
So let me clarify, you prefer to have the plate carrier, the second carrier deployed to every officer instead of the 40?
I would rather that. It is an additional expense, a considerable expense, but it's something we might be able to.
What's the unit cost?
They are...
Soft body armor, which will be outfitting every officer in, is give or take $1,300. That's this one here. And then the hard armor plates, both plates included with the system, is just shy of $1,500.
It seems like a very small investment for the level of protection it offers the officers.
It would be, well, there'd be about 300 extra of them at 1,500, so it'd be up around...
A lot of money in aggregate,
$500,000, but we should be in a very favorable budget position, so that might be something we can address in the fall.
How often do we replace them?
Sorry, go ahead, Ned.
How often do we replace them? Every 10 years?
Question.
Lifetime cycle, like span of
Warranty from the manufacturer, I believe, for 8 years for the armor, but that is a warranty. The realistic span is much longer.
Okay.
What about the vests?
The same. There's a number of tactical units that have already been using the Tier Armor system, our own included. I'm told Toronto ETF, they needed a replacement, and it was just the carriers that needed to be replaced because they were just some wear points on the armor was fine.
Yeah, that's good. Typically, how long would an officer have his body armor?
Be in possession of the armor?
Yeah, like how long would it be? Like what's the, I mean, we know what the warranty is, but what would the effective period of effective use be of a set of body armor?
I would say from my history, the officers aren't wearing out body armor. It's more of body shape changes, and they need to be refitted for new armor, whether they've added weight or lost weight or whatever. But I don't think I've ever seen an officer come and said, hey, I need new armor because I simply worn my out. We have had damage to the carriers or whatnot, or they've ripped their stitchings come out. We simply just get a new carrier. But in terms of the proper armor, it's just a matter of body change, size.
So it might be worthwhile issuing Ozempic to keep the body armor in place for longer. Thank you again. I don't think we have any further questions. I don't know anything about that. No further questions. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have our friends from Crime Stoppers. So whoever is going to, is that you, Jan, you're going to present today? Or okay, come on down. As Bob Barker would say.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Jan Westcott. I have been a Crime Stoppers volunteer and on the board for about 15 years. I am joined today by a number of our directors. I think we have 4 other directors, some of our volunteers, one of our volunteer coordinators, and our co-op coordinators, and of course our executive director. So thank you very much. The board had asked us to provide an update on our fundraising initiatives, and we have provided a deck to the board. Do you want me to walk through it, or do you want to sort of speak to questions? How would you like me to proceed on this?
I know everybody's read it in detail, as we always do. Let me just canvass the board. Would you like to hear the presentation, Director, or are you ready to go right into discussions about the presentation?
Okay with discussions, unless...
Discussion? Yeah, because I know you are on time sensitivity as well, so we know you have some time sensitivity as well, so we're very alive to that. So to give us enough time to have a good conversation, let's just skip the presentation. Okay. We've had a chance to read it. So I'll go to the board. Then who has questions? Who has the first question on this?
And if I could ask your indulgence, I had a significant ear infection a month ago, and it's affected my hearing a little bit, not quite fully recovered. So I'm struggling a little bit to hear you, so.
Okay, I'll try and be extra loud.
That's good.
My kids tell me that I'm very loud anyway, so. Members of the board, yeah, Nav, you're up.
Yeah, so in the presentation, some of the statistics go back from, what Crime Stoppers has achieved since 1980-something. Do we have a line of sight of what the statistics are for, let's say, the last 3 years of how many tips have been called in, how many rewards have been paid out? Because, I mean, if we go back to, 20-something years or 30 years, we don't know what's happened recently. So do we have a line of sight what's happened over the last couple of years?
So I think I would answer that in 2 ways. We will be happy to share with the board after today a detailed analysis of that. We track our tips and the awards, both awarded and paid out on a very specific basis. And that's a database that is shared or helped with HRPS. So we will come back and provide specific information. I will say that we get about 200 tips a week. So we get about 200 tips a week. Obviously, not all of them are credible things that are acted upon. They are all passed to our police coordinator and dealt with and determined the seriousness of them. I will say, I won't go into any detail, but we focus on certain priorities. We try and match what we're doing with the priorities that HRPS and the board has established. And just in the last period of time, over the last year, Crime Stoppers played a role in both discovering and stopping a human trafficking operation that was taking place in Halton. I won't go into a lot of details, but we are seeing specific results on tips that come in on a regular basis. So I will commit to provide you within a week to 10 days with a detailed analysis of what those are. Obviously, as the population of the region has grown, our tips have increased in tandem with the population.
Just a follow-up question. In the projections and the financials that were provided, I didn't see a line item of budgeting or past of how much we paid out in rewards. Was that an oversight, or is that captured in another column, or is it a different report that you guys have? No,
I would say, to be honest, I would say we got discombobulated during the pandemic. We had a policy of setting aside funds for called a contingent liability for awards that were out there. Like most Crime Stoppers units, we're seeing fewer and fewer people claiming the rewards. A good portion of the people that when they make a tip and are asked about a reward say, no, I'm not interested in a reward, I just want to provide this information because it's the right thing to do. That actually seems to be on the increase, but we're happy to provide the specific information. So I'll come back to you on that.
So just to confirm my understanding, so in 2024, there's nothing listed. So does that mean in 2024, no cash rewards were paid out?
No, that's not what that means. I'll have to give you the breakdown.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, sorry about that.
English your pick?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jen, you have your team with you here today, and I see Colin and I see Farshad and some of your executive members and your volunteers. My question is, having heard the two councillors this morning about their concerns regarding the Community Watch pilot project, how is Crime Stoppers reacting to what we heard this morning?
I think positively. I mean, this is a pilot. To be perfectly honest, we didn't have all the answers going into this. The whole purpose of doing the pilot was to learn things. The one thing that I would acknowledge to the board is that when we started this out, we found ourselves confronted by some individuals who claimed that they were doing a community watch thing or a neighborhood watch. And it took us a little bit of time to get past that. I think they're still out there, but I think we have really dissuaded some of those individuals from continuing to kind of muddy the water. It's not over, and I think the point that two councillors made about communications is a critical one. So, you know, my response, and I think we chatted about it once we saw the letter from the councillors, is that those are good suggestions. I think we're acting on some of them already. So, for example, we are developing an app. We're working with co-op students at Sheridan who are helping us develop an app. You know, it's like everything else. If I could think of ways to speed that process up, we would do it. But no, I think they're all positive. Could we have done better? Yes, we could. Are we ready to roll it out more broadly? I don't think quite yet. I think we need a roadmap of how to do that. We need to take their things into consideration. We are also mindful of some of the things that are already going on. The councillor mentioned the WhatsApp. There's a couple of WhatsApp things. Those, to me, I'll let other people voice their own opinion. Those are not necessarily helpful. They become platforms for a lot of garbage, frankly, and they're not helpful. And so we're looking at those things, but trying to be very careful that we're not creating that. They get political. They're you know, a bit xenophobic sometimes. There's just a lot of trash that's on those, and so we're thinking carefully about how to do that. I think one of the things that we'd like to do, and I think where we should maybe think about going next is, I'd like to see us have regular meetings on this with HRPS and with the council to sort of hone it. I think Janet had a very good point about objectives. I think we need to work hard on that. I'm not sure that they're clear to everybody, and I think we need that sort of consensus on that. I mean, criticism is important because it's how you improve things. So, you know, I don't always like it, but I think it's the right thing, and I think, you know, we need to embrace it and say, okay, guys, how can we do better? With one exception, we are all volunteers. I've been volunteering for 15 years. We have had great success in building our volunteer group. We're up to 125. We have pioneered, I would say, one of the most aggressive and important co-op student programs. I think we have 36 co-ops now that gives us the ability to focus on different things and work on that. We're being asked by the Ontario Association of Crime Stoppers to help them help other Crime Stopper units. And so it's a work in progress. But I think, you know, I would say that to the councillor's comments, I think they're all good. They're all suggestions. We need to have dialogue on them. We have signed up over 500 people on the Crime Stoppers as to be participants. We are meeting, Colin and I are going to a meeting next week, next Tuesday. We're trying to sit down with all of the ratepayer associations. We have had suggestions as to how to find and recruit block captains, and we're going to ask the ratepayer associations to work with us to help us do that. We have good responses from 2 of them already. They've asked us to go to their AGMs and talk about this, so we're going to do that. The first one's next week. I think you had one discussion with another one last week. So not perfect, absolutely, but I think it's been a good beginning. You know, we have gone out, we've knocked on the doors in a bunch of places in Ward 3. We have had signs available at the community center. We're looking at other things we can do for outreach. So work in progress, more to do, but as I said, I think you have to take what the councillor said seriously and pay attention to it and see if we can't meet some of the concerns that they have.
I think they would welcome that. It would be mutually beneficial to have those meetings set up. I see Colin standing up. Did you want to add something?
No, I just want to make sure that I hear it also. I'm having a hard time hearing it also.
Oh, okay. Are we speaking loudly enough?
We're just getting older, and Chris, sorry.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Jen. Thank you.
Lisa.
Thank you very much for being here. So I have two questions. My first one is just exploratory. While it seems like you're navigating a recalibration of the Ward 3 pilot project, might you have given any thought to potentially doing a secondary pilot in a different neighborhood with different dynamics? For example, North Burlington.
We'd love to. So I think you know, we talked about where we would go from here. And I think the one thing that we see is the need to create a roadmap for how you would expand this. A logical next step, and this is me talking off the top of my head, so don't get excited. A logical next step would be to pick a second pilot, take what we've learned from the Ward 3 experience, incorporate that, and start something else. And yeah, Burlington would be an opportunity to do that.
Thank you. That's my first question. If I may just have some assistance with the slides, please. Can I see slide 8? So your funding identification from 2018 to 2024 maxes out at about $52,000. I recognize the next couple of slides are initiatives, and then I'd like to go to the slide 14, recognizing that fiscal year 2025 is looking to come in for a year one projection at $87,000 for fundraising activities. And then FY26 is $112,000 for fundraising activities. So it looks like you're projecting a multiplier 2.5-fold of your top end fundraising.
Sorry, can you say that once more?
Yeah, so you've traditionally had a maximum fundraising amount of about $50,000. Then in 2025, this year, you're looking to increase that to about $87,000. Then there's another significant jump towards 2026, looking at a projected fundraising activity amount of $112,000 in what's being anticipated as an economic downturn. How are you doing that in this climate to go, double plus what your top years have historically been?
So I think this is an older piece of paper, an older submission. I think when we made this, we were a little bit optimistic. We did not appreciate how difficult it was going to be coming out of the pandemic. So I'll give you an example. A number of our traditional funders that had been sustaining us switched the way to come at these things and stopped giving money to organizations like Crime Stoppers and started donating and creating programs specifically for people that were on the front lines in the pandemic. And while we have gone back to a number of them, that has not changed. So the insurance companies got involved in this other sort of approach, and we're not there yet. So I would say I recognize that we made these projections. I think they were a little bit overly ambitious. So what we've tried to be in our current stuff is more realistic, a little bit more on the small C conservative side, so that we under-promise and over-deliver. So work in progress again, but I'm much more confident with the analysis that we've done in the last little while to come up with better numbers that really reflect what we think we can do given the circumstances that we're in.
So a natural follow-up would be when might it be possible to see those numbers? Will they come to us as a circular?
Well, we're in the process. So in a month, we have our first shred for this year. We have a number of new initiatives that we're starting. We have our golf tournament lined up. We are undertaking to do a car show right here in the parking lot here this year.
Well, can I just get AV to jump to slide 11? I think this will help. So a few of those initiatives are posted here.
I'm sorry?
These are the ones you're talking about?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we're happy to come back and report at periods through the year as to sort of how we're doing, where we met the numbers, those kinds of things. And you're right, it's a challenging environment out there right now. People are reluctant to spend money. We've seen it on some of our activities, particularly on our shred events, where we've seen some small things. Now, the good news is that we've built up our contacts quite significantly, and so we're in touch with people. We have been very fortunate, and thanks to your help, I think we do bingo here in Oakville. We're now doing bingo in Burlington. I think in the year and a half or 2 years we've been doing the Oakville one, I've only missed one of the shifts. They're kind of fun. And we've just started, as I said, I think, Colin, we're on our third or fourth shift in Burlington. So, we're working hard to sort of get to as many of those things as we can, and I'm optimistic. I think we can reach these targets. I think these are realistic.
Okay. Well, let me know when your bingo night is, because bingo is on my 2025 bingo card. So I'm going to do that this year for my first time. So let me know.
And the other reason, and I should explain, I reached out to the councillor to say, we want to have more profile in Burlington. We're doing bingo in Oakville. I understand there's a bingo operation in Burlington. Can you make the introductions for us? And we did. So you did, and we spoke to them, and we got involved, and we're now one of the charity groups that's going in and doing that. It doesn't make us a lot of money. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that every night we do it, we have an opportunity to go around and talk to all the people that are coming out to that, many of whom are seniors. So we talk about what we do and things like fraud and stuff like that. So it increases our exposure a little bit as well.
Well, if you want a special bingo night, I will come. And we can line it up with pierogi night.
Bingo and pierogies at the same time?
Same building, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
If I just had a follow-up to the question. So it's great that, there's some new initiatives that have been started. I know when you came to present, I think it was mid last year, we were advised that a lot of the fundraising events stopped due to COVID. And there was the plan to start some of these new events. So I want to know, are these events already established, dates set, or is this we plan on doing these events, we're working out the strategic on how we're going to do it, or are they already, we're going to do this event, it's been planned, we have a booking, just trying to understand what stage these new events are at.
Good question. It's a mix. So, golf tournament. So we restarted a golf tournament 2 years ago. Our experience is when you start a new fundraising thing, almost like a business thing, it takes time to build it up. When we did our first shred event 11, 12 years ago, it was with Shredded because they were headquartered here. I think our first shred event, we raised $1,200. Now we're averaging somewhere between 12 and 16, on a good day, maybe $18,000. It takes time to build up. We did our first golf tournament. I think we made $1,200 in the first year. Last year we made $5,000. Takes time to build these. So the car show is the dates picked. The approvals have been reached, I understand, to have it here on the premises or in the parking lot. We have agreement with the Oakville Rib Fest to do the program that we're looking at with them. I'm not going to put the chief on the spot. We love to do an event with the chief because I think that would be a very good thing both for, in terms of awareness of the program, but also as a fundraiser. So we've got a bunch of ideas. Honestly, if you guys have things that you think we should be doing,
You have the chief.
part of the Rib Fest idea came from the chairman. He said, you know, have you talked to these guys at the group that does Rib Fest? And so we've been in touch with us. So open to ideas about what we can do. We are expanding, you know, we have, for Crime Stoppers Month in January, we started out with the Sunshine Donut people in Burlington. We're expanding that. We have a second one. We're hoping to get a third and a fourth. It's not a lot of money, but it does two things. It creates more awareness of what we do, and it brings in a little cash.
I'm curious as to what this event with the chief's going to look like.
It's bingo. Mr. Chair, as long as,
Car wash.
Mr. Chair, as long as North Bends are involved, I'm okay. As long as North Bends are involved, I think the chief should volunteer.
Florida shirt, yeah.
The CGO was suggesting a hair shaving,
For both of us. Yeah, sure.
Volunteering.
Dye your hair pink.
Further questions from the board? Okay, I have a couple. So, from a practical, when are you submitting your charitable status return? Because I noticed it hasn't been submitted since 2023.
Sorry?
Your charity status report, your charity report for CRA hasn't been filed since 2023 according to the CRA website.
Our accountant's working on it. I think, is it done? June. We have to submit that by June. I think June 30th, and so the accountant is working on it. We switched accountants 3 years ago. We have a professional firm, Sobel and Company, that's doing it. He's done we went from a 4-page return to like a 30-page return based on their input, and so.
They're billing? They're billing?
Yeah. Yeah, our experience with, it was great. We had a volunteer accounting firm, but we always wound up being at the bottom of the pile because they were doing it pro bono. And 2 years, we almost lost our registration because we didn't file in time. So we've had some close calls, and so we made the switch to a professional firm that we're paying modestly to make sure that we're up to speed with the Canada Revenue Agency.
So, one of the things that we need to achieve is we need to achieve a new MOU. That's one of the outcomes that we're looking for through this process. So that's accurate, right?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that since Crime Stoppers was initiated in the late 80s, there has been an MOU between the police service and the organization. It has been updated a couple of times. It was updated, I think, the last time in 2012. And so it's a question of as the world around us evolves, the service evolves, and we ourselves evolve. Just bringing it up to date and do it. It's the agreement. It clarifies who does what kind of thing. I think that's really the idea.
And I think that the board embraces that idea that we do need a new MOU as well. One of the things that's been noted that there's no reference to Community Watch in the MOU. And I'm wondering if that was by accident or by design.
Well, no, it was when the MOU was drafted. We weren't even thinking about that. So I think it's something to look at for sure. I don't see any reason not to have reference to it. But as I said, when it was drafted a year or so ago, we didn't know that we were going to be involved in something like Community Watch.
Okay. One of the outcomes that I'd like to see out of today, and I believe there's a motion ready for this, that we would like to actually establish a working group between the board and Crime Stoppers to actually draft a new MOU going forward, a new modern MOU that clearly outlines both the deliverables from both sides, but also the metrics and the reporting. And so I think you're going to see that out of today's outcomes as well. What are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve from the board at this point in time? I saw the ask is identified in the slide deck. What is it that you need from us at this moment?
we'd like to make progress on the MOU, so your idea of sitting down and looking at it, we're open to that. We'd like to have some indication of potential funding. So before we redrafted the MOU, the old MOU, we were receiving about $24,000 directly from HRPS as a stipend, I'll call it, annually. And so and I guess had we not raised the MOU, that may have just continued onward. So we looked at that, and times have changed, we've changed, our needs are a little bit different, so we asked for more money. So one of the things we're looking for is some sense of funding, particularly as we work on things like Community Watch, to augment it. You know, I'd like to get to a day where we don't ask you guys for anything. Everything's done privately through fundraising. We're not there yet. It's going to take a little bit of time. And, you know, as you are aware, we have different people many times when we come before you because our directors come and go, and a lot of our volunteers come and go. So, you know, we were down as low as 25 volunteers at the end of the pandemic, and we're back up to 125 now. So you know, we're making progress. We've been impressed with particularly young people willing to come out and pitch in. Some of you know some of them quite well, and that's been encouraging, right? But we're going to see turnover on our board, and so as we go through this period, you know, we're looking to have some sense of what kind of funding we might be able to look forward to. The other thing is, we're not visible enough. I mean, we're pretty visible in Oakville, we're pretty visible in Burlington, we're not really visible in Milton enough. We're certainly not visible enough in Georgetown or Acton, absolutely. And so we need to think about ways, and some of those things that we might do are going to cost us some money to get that profile up there. You know, some of our old fundraising ideas, when we had the concerts and moved them around, it gave us something that was in that community, within those communities. That's all stopped. Like, that whole concert thing is gone now. And that was both a good fundraiser, and we sold tickets all through those particular communities. So I think what we're looking for is progress on the MOU, some sense of funding. You were very generous in awarding us additional money for 24-25. We'd like to see if we could get you to think about extending that into the future.
Okay, that's a good summary, thank you. Members of the board, any further questions? Nav?
So just wanted to say, like, in terms of if we're going to do a motion for the working group, I just want to add that we make a motion that Crime Stoppers report back before the next meeting with the metrics for the last 3 years, including tips received and rewards given, just so we have an understanding of the great impact that they have in the community, right?
That's good. And that's acceptable, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I want to say thank you to you, Jan, for your leadership. And I know the actual chair is not available today, so to her as well. And to all of the volunteers who spend so much of their time working on the public safety of the people of Halton. So we do thank you. We want to make sure that we establish a framework and a relationship that is meaningful and accountable, because of course, you know, we're working in a very public sphere as a board, and we want to make sure that what we're doing is completely within our scope, and that we have proper metrics to report back on our successes. So I think that the motion that Jessica can read out, I believe in a moment, will basically suggest that we sit down and have a conversation about that MOU, scope something out that works for both sides. We'd like to see some language about the delivery of the Crime Stoppers program, and also some more regular reporting. And then we hopefully get that signed, and then we can move forward. I know there's a mention that you want clarification on your funding for 2025. I mean, it was approved for 2025, so good. I mean, the funding is fine for 2025. I don't think that's an issue. What we have to do is address 26 and going forward. There was a request, I know as well, about quarterly payments. There was a request about quarterly payments, I believe?
We received it quarterly, sir.
You do get it now? Okay, I wasn't sure, I wasn't clear if it was you need it or you get it. Okay, that's great.
The continuation.
Great, okay. So right now, this motion is not going to address the funding, but your funding is fine for 25. You're not in any risk at this moment, I assume? Everything's good for 25?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, Jessica, can you read out the motion that we had put together earlier?
Sure. So the motion is that Crime Stoppers fundraising plan be received, that the MOU be deferred to a subcommittee of the Halton Police Board to convene with Crime Stoppers Executive Director, Board Chair, and an additional member of the Crime Stoppers Board to negotiate the MOU for consideration at the May 22nd board meeting, and that Crime Stoppers report back at the May 22nd board meeting with the metrics for the last 3 years, including tips received and rewards dispersed.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I didn't hear, I think what Jen has maybe catching, I didn't hear that. Did you include who on our board is on that committee?
Just a subcommittee of our board, and then their...
So let's establish that at the same time. So it's the chair, vice chair, and a manager of board operations. That's what we had talked about earlier.
Yes.
Is that acceptable to everybody? Okay. Just FYI, Jessica has a brand new title. She's the manager, is that what it's called? Your title is manager of board operations?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's the new board secretary, taking over for Greg Dillon. Okay, so that's the motion before us. Members of the board, can I get a mover for that? Thank you, Nav. Thank you, Samira. Are there any further comments or questions? I'm sorry, you can take your seat.
Sorry?
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
I left you standing. I should never do that.
I should have started by passing along apologies from our chair, Luann Lucier, who couldn't be here today because she's dealing with a family issue, so I'm standing in for her.
We understand, and that's perfectly acceptable. Thank you again, Jen. We really appreciate it. The motion's on the floor, members of the board. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Okay, and we'll be in touch very soon to set at least the initial meeting up and scope out exactly what it is we hope to accomplish at that. Okay? We're good. Thank you. Okay, members of the board, I want to draw your attention to, while we're at that, can I get a motion to receive the presentation by the Ward 3 councillors? Thank you, Nav. Thank you. Nobody wants to do it? Ingrid, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Can I get a motion to receive the presentation from the Training Bureau on body armor? Nav and Samira, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Take care, folks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
We have to run the bingo.
Lisa will be right behind you. Thank you for coming. Okay, I want to draw the board's attention to our...
You're going to be jealous when I win.
I will be. I may just have to... Since it's early, I may go with you. We're board outing. Okay, we're moving on to item 3, which is our information reports. Members of the board, there are 3 items on that information report. Agenda sees fund statement as of February 28th. We have our 2024 audit report, and 3.3 is the Q1 Human Resources Summary. Does anybody wish to separate any of those for discussion, or are you satisfied with the reports that have been presented? Satisfied? So I heard the first satisfied came from Samira. And Lisa's also satisfied, or do you have a question?
I just want to comment on the audit report.
Okay.
I always think it's important that we make a statement to the audit reports that they don't just kind of flow through consent or anything like that. So just turning it over perhaps to chief or staff if there's any comments or any unresolved matters. I always like to hear that when we receive these types of reports.
Sure.
You know, I'm very satisfied and happy with the report at all. It's done for the purpose of identifying certain issues and also looking after those issues at the same time. So it was really good reading through it, seeing 23 pieces of property, where are they, and 23 pieces of property found. And there are so many thousands of different items that flow through, as you can imagine. We should do a tour of the property and evidence management area sometime, just so you can see how large and vast that is. But no, in general, I'm very satisfied with the report and thankful to the people that do it.
Yeah, and thank you. And I also want to highlight, it's not a financial audit report, it's a process audit report for any folks watching at home.
And on that note, just for clarity, the financial audit is done through the region of Halton, so that's why we don't have a specific one for the service, although the funds are all fully audited, but done through the arrangements with the region of Halton. Further, are you seconding the motion to receive this radio?
I will second.
Thank you. Further comments or questions?
No.
All in favor? The information items are received. Okay, moving on to the recommendation report. We've already dealt with the first one, which is the Crime Stoppers Plan, an MOU. The second one is the body armor project. You'll find the recommendation on page 64 that the Halton Police Board move forward with the acquisition of TYR soft body armor and TYR hard armor as outlined in the Training Bureau soft and hard body armor report capital budget request. Does anybody wish to have any further discussion about this, or are we ready to move on? Everybody want their own body armor? Can I get a motion, please?
One more question.
Yeah, sure, please.
In the consultation, I didn't see any commentary related potentially to the union. Is this a union matter at all whatsoever?
Not directly. Certainly, it was all members of the regular association that would have been trying the various options and settling on this as being definitely their choice and preference. From a health and safety perspective, certainly the association is always concerned that our members have the very best equipment for protection.
I think that's a shared value.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get you to move that motion? Thank you. So move. Can I get a seconder, please, for that? Now, thank you. Further discussion? All in favor? All in favor? That's approved. Thank you. Okay, 4.3 is limited tender magnet forensics additional software. Does anybody have any questions on this matter, or does anybody have anything they wish to say about this from command or from IT? Everybody's happy? Any questions from the board? Can I get a motion to approve the recommendation? Thank you, Ingrid. Seconded by Samira. Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, 4.4, we have a special constable request from McMaster University. I think we go to the CGO and ask, what is the appropriate disposition of this matter?
So it's an expansion. The regulation, I don't think, talks about right now. Province is already licensed McMaster, if you will, to have special constables. And so this is an expansion from Hamilton into Halton region. And this is a long way of saying this is new ground, and we'll have to figure out what the process is. Okay. But they're already, it's an expansion of an existing program. It's just under our side of the border, right?
I assume that this is with respect to the Burlington campus.
Yeah.
Okay. Chief, you had a comment?
Well, we have had it in place before. I think it was either CARE or several years ago under the old act. We had it because they are just operating in our area. They don't do that much in our area, but that building is certainly McMaster property within the city of Burlington. So it's a very much an awareness thing and technicality under the new act to just do it again. Interestingly, you'll notice the director of their campus security now is Ivan Orty, who retired here as an inspector. So he came and met with me just informally a week or so ago, and he'll work through some logistics with Ken as necessary, but we fully support it.
Thank you. Before I go to questions, I just want to, Ken, is there any action you need from the board other than receiving this today? I'm assuming you're administering the legal aspect of this. Do you need anything from us, a direction or anything?
Sir, it's just a matter of bringing the current arrangement in compliance with the new act.
Okay. So we just receive it at this point, and you folks have it under control, and is that your understanding as well? This is new ground, so I'm unfamiliar with it.
That sounds good, but I'll verify it with Soljan and the Inspector General.
Mr. Tilley, do you have any comments on this at all? It's a learning moment for all of us, so.
I just suggest we have some discussion once the agreement's kind of been drafted, because there may well be some requirement for you as a board to put some policy and process in place. I'm just not sure whether, for example, if those special constables are going to be full-time based in Burlington, then there may be some requirement for you to actually approve those appointments. But again, I think we have to have some discussion once we understand what's being.
So receipt of this letter is sufficient for today, pending a contract that legal would bring back to us?
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Chief?
And they will only be in Burlington at this location periodically. That there's definitely not a full-time presence of McMaster University security people.
Samir, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was ready to bring forward a motion to accept this request, but now that through the various personnel, we have clarified what the expected action is for today, I think I'll put that to the side. I guess we just want to receive it. Yeah. But if there is a capacity to move a motion, I'm ready to move a motion to accept the request.
Well, I think receiving it and getting the contract back, it's going to be, this is one of those new areas under the CSPA that we're still grappling with. I think it'll be a good learning opportunity. I have Lisa, but do you
I just want to say, if this was, say, Sheridan College, and they were starting from scratch, there's a whole other process that would be required. Because this is the expansion of an existing program in our neighbor, that's why it's a little bit of new ground. But it should be much easier, certainly, than starting up a new one, say, at Sheridan or at the hospital.
Sounds good. Lisa?
Yeah, I'm sorry to expand the conversation a little bit wider, but you do mention hospital. There's also municipal security officers. There's, potentially in future security on transit. We have Brock University coming to Burlington as well, in short order, and I'm just wondering, with the advice and guidance, do we need something more policy-driven around this on how we satisfy the new requirements? Because this one is fine, it sounds like, but what else? What does this actually mean? Do we have to do more things with it?
No, if I may, the rest is fairly simple. This is not about security guards or the Old Phil Hospital or Joseph Brandt having security guards or transit. This is the special constable status under the Act. And because McMaster has special constables, they fall under the Act. And then when those special constables are, granted the authorization to work at McMaster University, a really tiny part of McMaster University is in Burlington. So we still police all of Burlington. We would do a break and enter at the group business school. They will come out here. So I would say it's very much a technicality that the board be aware that a special constable that is really under more the authority of the Hamilton Police Services Board is here just to do some things as the group once in a while.
Okay.
It's not about security guards. Security guards in a different way are licensed, but nothing to do with us or the board.
By Soljan.
Yeah. Okay. I know there is a mover, so I'll just. I can second it.
Thank you. I think that at the end of the day, and I think the advice from Mr. Tilley is sound, that we take it up further once it comes to contract. I think it's a good learning opportunity to understand our role under the CSPA, and this chief puts it a more minor capacity, because if we are faced with having to deal with this on a larger scale basis in the future startup, then we'll be all the wiser. Ken, you have further?
Certainly, Mr. Chair, once the agreements are finalized, will be presented both to this board and to the Hamilton Police Board for approval. There will be a board report, and I'll undertake to ensure that report outlines the legislative requirements and can understand the role of the board in the approval process.
Thank you. The motion to receive has been moved and seconded. All in favor? That's carried. Operational verbal updates.
Through the chair, just a friendly reminder, May 10th is Police Day, Special Front Day. I know most of you, or not all of you, have been in the past. It's a great event, a great opportunity for the organization to interact with the community. Our Community Services Unit has been working diligently on this project and getting it ready since last year's event. So they're very excited. It's a friendly reminder to those watching from home and the board members as well that date's coming up. Starts at 12 and runs until 4 that day.
So for 100% clarity for anybody on YouTube, it's here.
It's here.
At the campus headquarters. And there's games, there's food, there's demonstrations, there's food, there's allied agency and food. It's a great fun day, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bring the kids and everybody.
And there's food.
And there's food. You like your food? Good.
Face painting, all sorts of fun. Great family event.
Yes, it is. It's I've been going for years with my children, and now I get to bring my grandkids, which is a lot of fun. Yeah. Anything further?
Good morning to the chair. Just a quick highlight of some amazing work that's happening in the districts. We launched a media release yesterday regarding a robbery at Mapleview Mall at a TELUS store where four perps showed up in a stolen vehicle at a Toronto, conducted a robbery at the TELUS store. A pursuit was initiated. That pursuit ended in Oakville. We were able to secure 4 of the 5 bandits that were all masked up, which was great. Armed, that this is the inherent risks that our frontline are facing. The next day, we have another cell phone robbery on Fairview Street in Burlington. This occurred yesterday. A pursuit was initiated on that one as well. We were able to actually arrest 7 suspects involved with 2 different vehicles that day. So this likely stems into some other peripheral investigations. I can't share too much more, but the ages of these bandits are 15 to 28. A lot of them coming from outside of our jurisdiction, but it is something that our frontline members are seeing day in and day out. And just to highlight some of the exceptional coordination in a very volatile situation and some very good outcomes through a coordinated fashion. So at times K9 will assist and tactical and others, but this was very frontline centric and a great result for the troops out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, I think it's your hashtag, but the hashtag like not in our town. And I heard about this yesterday because Mapleview is very close to my ward, and I didn't hear about the second one, but looked like they were on a bit of a activity day yesterday. And it really is amazing to catch them that quickly before they even make it out of Halton, to continue to show that if you come here, you'll not get the outcome that you had maybe hoped for, and also to highlight out to anyone watching in the community to be more careful around the malls. I also had a report of an elderly gentleman who went into one of the high-end electronic stores, Apple. There's some coordinated efforts in the mall where someone will watch making big purchases, another person will watch the doors, and another person will be in the parking lot waiting for you. So go with a friend, wait until maybe a loved one can go with you, be aware of your surroundings, and also a message to some of those higher end retail stores to just warn folks, do you have a safe way home? Are you with anybody? Did you want to wait for someone to make this purchase? Can we walk you to your car? Things like that, to just be more mindful, but it's important to do it both ways, obviously with the incredible work and communication and coordination from the team, and to be your own best advocate for safety as well.
Thank you. Are we concluding verbal updates? Nothing from the anchor man here? No? Okay. Okay, moving along, we have our action registry, Mr. CGO.
The shared service agreements are being worked on, right, Ken? With the other, some of our neighbors. We just had the Crime Stoppers presentation, along with the resolution, which will now go on here for the committee work on the MOU. And the community fund policy, as well as funding levels, is on your board only agenda later for further development.
Terrific. Okay, motion, any questions on the action items? Motion to receive, please. Thank you, Nav. Thank you, Ingrid. All in favor? That's carried. Members of the board, I'll draw your attention. There are three items of correspondence on our public correspondence list. One was the request from McMaster, which we've dealt with, the correspondence from Halton Region regarding board size and diversity plan. And I'm pleased to report that the Halton Region Council has approved maintaining the board composition at 7 members, 3 provincial appointees, 3 municipal councillors, and 1 citizen. Just as a bit of background, the CSPA provided the option to the municipality to have between, I believe it's 5 and 9 members. The region has chosen to stick with the 7, which we had actually recommended, and we're so grateful for that. And they've also established and approved a board appointment diversity plan as well, and that's in our monthly correspondence. And the third piece was the correspondence from Oakville Ward 3 councillors regarding the Community Watch program. Can I get a motion to receive the monthly correspondence, please? Thank you, Lisa. And a comment? Yes?
I was very glad to receive the diversity plan, and that helps us tick off Section 28 in the new act. And I think it's important to note that we'll continue to strive towards that diversity, but we still need to set the assessments of our municipality so that we know what benchmark we're working towards, and that's stated within that policy. So we have increased the diversity on this board. There was once upon a time all white old men in a nice photo grid, so I think that we have shifted our efforts away from that, thankfully, and now we do have a very strong discourse of experiences, backgrounds, and dialogue that helps to reflect the community that we serve. So I'm glad it's the direction that we are going in, and having this document under the new act is an important step towards, fulfilling all of our duties under that act. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Speaking as the token white old man on this board. Appreciate your comments. It's been moved by, the receipt's been moved by Lisa, seconded by, I think, Ingrid. All in favor of the receipt? That's carried. We have one matter of new business, and this is a resolution from me to establish a community fund committee. Just for some background, the idea here is to establish a committee to take the investigation and the reporting on community fund applications, which have stepped up in recent months. To a subcommittee level so that the work can be done outside of the, directly from the board. So this committee would basically review the reports or review the requests, do the background investigation, speak with the chief's office for any concerns, and then make a recommendation to the board. So this is a 3-member committee that I'm proposing, 2 members of the board and 1 non-board member to be appointed, and that would take place immediately once we've made those appointments. So that's my report. What do you think about this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I like this. I just question with regards to some sequencing, how many meetings per year this would entail, or would that be part of the review and recommendation?
So I think that part of this motion is that staff be directed to prepare a bylaw in terms of reference for the committee to be presented to the board at its May 2025 meeting. So I think that's a very, very good point, and that is one of those items that would have to come back at that time. Okay. My suspicion is that the frequency of meetings would rely strictly on when we have applications. So if there's periods where we don't have applications, then there should be obviously no meetings. But we'll have we'll get that fleshed out if you approve this recommendation.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, this is a very good proposal, and given the volume of applications that are coming in, I think it's great to form such a committee, and I'd be happy to participate.
Oh, you're volunteering now?
I am.
Okay.
That's easy. Point of clarification.
Yeah.
Unless there's a delegated authority, we don't require a bylaw for that.
Okay, so we can strike bylaw
in a policy.
Okay.
Statement.
So should that clause be amended to say, shall be directed to prepare a policy, or is it okay in terms of reference?
Just say
Terms of reference.
Terms of reference.
Okay. Okay. So just note that the mover, we're striking the word bylaw. So say directed to prepare a terms of reference for the committee.
And you can have options.
Yeah, sounds good. I like that. Now,
Just for clarity, Jeff, or sorry, Chair, the subcommittee will kind of do the legwork and then come to the board on, you know, this is what we have in front of us, this is what our recommendation is, and then the board decides.
yeah, I think that's kind of exactly what I've got in mind, because otherwise we can spend a lot of time with, you know, all these wonderful people looking on, or we can do the legwork behind the scenes, do the actual investigation to make sure that the applications are sound and meet our guidelines, and then bring the recommendations back for the board. Of course, the board can further discuss it as they wish, but I think it gives us a better opportunity to have a really good insight on what it is we're approving.
Sounds good.
Okay.
A lot of those have been incomplete.
Yeah, many have been incomplete, so this way we have an opportunity, an informal basis to say, yeah, it's not ready yet, and we need this piece and that piece and what have you. Okay, now said you're prepared to move it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a seconder for that?
I'm happy to second it.
Okay.
But a quick question,
Sure.
Mr. Chair. Will a staff member from the board be involved in these meetings too?
Yes, absolutely. The manager board operations will be involved. I'm not sure, I probably didn't say that.
No. It says to.
Okay, so let's add to that the committee shall be composed of 2 members of the board, 1 non-board member, appointed for term exceeding or expiring concurrently with the terms of municipal appointees to be to the board. In addition, the manager board operations shall serve on the committee in an ex officio capacity.
Perfect.
You got that, Jessica? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you've seconded it, right, Samira?
Yes.
Okay, so it's moved and seconded. We have a volunteer. I'm also happy to volunteer to be on the committee if the board is interested, but we'll deal with the motion first. All in favor of the motion as presented? Okay, that's carried. And is there anybody else? Ingrid is volunteered, I volunteered. Is there anybody else?
I'll volunteer.
Volunteer? So we're gonna have a runoff election?
Yeah, we can take turns, like, you know.
Sure.
Yes, I mean, there'll be more than enough.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get the policy where.
I'm happy to not be on it, so it could be you and Ingrid then.
Yeah, we can figure that out between the board, right? But I'm just saying if we need, I'm more than happy to support.
Well, it'd be great to appoint it so we can get it, because it's.
Share the names.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get this moving, so I'm always happy to not have another job. So if you're volunteering, then we've got 2 volunteers for the 2 board positions. Anybody else wish to volunteer?
Mr. Chair,
Russell? Yes, sir.
I do know that our esteemed member's term expires in July, so can we add subject to reappointment?
Well, I mean, we could deal with it when there's a vacancy, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we've approved the motion. Can I get a motion to appoint Nav and Ingrid to the committee? Samira, and seconded by Lisa. Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Congratulations, you have more work.
Yeah, there's. I don't have more.
Is there other new business to come before the board today? I'm not seeing any. I will announce then we are about to move into a session close to the public. And I'm going to require a motion. I'll read that motion into the record, and somebody would be appreciated if you make that motion for me, that the Halton Police Board do now convene into closed session as the subject matters discussed concern personal matters about identifiable individual, including members of the police service or any other employees of the board. That's the motion. Would somebody give that to me, please? Thank you, Nav. Ingrid, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, to those of you who are watching on our live stream on YouTube, thank you for tuning in to your board meeting. The balance of today's meeting will be held in a closed session, so that means our YouTube broadcast is now concluded. We always appreciate your interest in the affairs of the Halton Police Board and the service, and we appreciate you tuning in. If you ever have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to us. You can always reach me at chair@haltonpoliceboard.ca, and please visit our website at haltonpoliceboard.ca for more information on the activities of the board, our policies, bylaws, etc. So with that, I'm going to declare a 15-minute recess for whatever purposes you need it for. So we'll reconvene at 11:10.
It's an action today.
It's an action today.
Cue the news music.